Facts. After a heavily publicized trial, the Senate declared Chief Justice Renato Corona unfit to hold a lofty position and removed him from his office, due mainly to his act of non-declaration of his salen. After Chief Justice Corona's death, his widow, Mrs. Corona, pleads for judicial benevolence and supplicates for the grant of retirement benefits and other gratuities provided under Section 1 and 3 of Republic Act 9946 and monthly survivorship pension under Administrative Circular Number 81-2010, asserting that the Senate judgment removing the Chief Justice from office should be voided for insufficiency of evidence and non-compliance with Section 14, Article 8 of the Constitution. The issue in this case is whether the retirement benefits, other gratuities, and survivorship pension should be accorded to Mrs. Corona as the spouse of the late Chief Justice Corona despite the latter's ouster by impeachment, ruling, yes, an impeached public officer whose civil, criminal, or administrative liability was not judicially established is entitled to the retirement benefits provided under Republic Act 9946 and 8291. A judgment of liability in a separate legal proceeding is a resolutory condition after a verdict of ouster by impeachment has been rendered, in that the impeached official retains all the post-employment privileges already earned unless otherwise declared by the competent tribunals. Since his liability under the law has not been established before the courts of law, retirement eligibility and benefits have properly accrued to Chief Justice Corona when he was removed by impeachment on May 29, 2012. There being no such determination of liability, his entitlement thereto subsists. The more important consideration for granting retirement benefits is to compensate satisfactory service to the government. These are not mere gratuity, but a reward for allotting the best years of a public servant's life in the service of the country. The late Chief Justice practically lived and died a public servant, and thus entitled to retirement benefits, which the court finds no rhyme or reason to withhold from him. In the computation of his retirement benefits, it shall be reckoned from the time he was convicted in the impeachment case. Having determined the entitlement of Chief Justice Corona to retirement benefits, it naturally follows that his widow is likewise entitled to survivorship benefits, reckoned from the time of the demise of the late Chief Justice until the widow's death or remarriage. Mere eligibility for optional retirement at the time of death, not actual retirement, suffices to grant survivorship benefits upon the bereaved surviving spouse of a deceased magistrate. Even if so declared ineligible for said optional retirement, there is established ground to deem the former Chief Justice as involuntarily retired due to the events immediately following his ouster by impeachment. As Chief Justice Corona had met the qualifications for an optional retirement, his widow, who likewise possesses none of the disqualifications under Administrative Circular Number 81-2010 for entitlement, must be consoled by the grant of the benefits that are legally accorded to her as a surviving legitimate spouse of a magistrate under Republic Act 9946.